Invasion. What is the big deal? It is just a yellow plant, yet it invades my once beautiful dreams, turning them into yellow nightmares. But plants have migrated to new lands for eons. Invasion is natural. It is good. Ask Darwin. Plants have hitched a ride from migrating birds and flown in the winds. Why should we interfere with Scotch Broom here?
So there's a lot of conversation about when an introduced species becomes naturalized and becomes part of that ecosystem where it's been introduced. And from my perspective, if it hasn't been in our environment long enough for our species, like our pollinators and butterflies, and all the beneficial insects to start interacting with it and having some ecological benefit, if it's not a contributing member to that community, then it's still a problem. It's a waste if it's not, and it's taking and replacing something that would be helping our environment. And so until it does that, I would say that it serves no function. And if it's damaging, if it's causing fires, if it's impacting agricultural fields, if it's impacting salmon habitat, if it has negative impacts, to some point we say that we can't tolerate it. And that's where, when we say noxious weed, it's a legal term in Washington, it has to meet a certain threshold. And when it meets that threshold of damages or being a problem, that's when we deem it to be a noxious weed. There's plenty of species that get introduced that have little to no impact. We don't worry about those things. And they're not a problem. Not all introduced species is a problem.
Some changes we experience are not welcome. Scotch Broom is an invader to North America. A small, highly trained professionals along the western coast of America and Canada are fighting against the Scotch Broom takeover. This invasion had started in the mid-1850s. Our European immigrants brought it over here for garden ornaments. Since then, the invader has destroyed the native ecology. Scotch Broom continues to invade new territories in the West with the help of climate change.
With climate change and increased recreation and travel across the United States, we're anticipating that Scotch Broom is going to be invading new habitats, new states, and new provinces. We know that Scotch Broom is present at a very low level in the state of Idaho, and there's even less in the state of Montana. We're expecting that the invasion is going to be in those areas, and that small amount of Scotch Broom, if left unchecked, will explode exponentially, and they'll be in a similar situation as we are in the state of Washington.
Scotch Broom, as an invasive weed, is really a good example of how the problems an invasive weed causes are magnificently greater than any potential benefit it could ever give. The economic and ecological impacts of Scotch Broom are vast. The economic impacts can be estimated, and I believe it's the Washington Invasive Species Council estimated them at $142.8 million per year in losses of timber and livestock. But the ecological consequences, they cannot be easily measured. If Scotch Broom introduces other invasive species or enables their growth, as the nitrogen in the soil makes invasive grasses grow faster, as the leaf fall makes non-native worms turn soil over quicker, and as it outcompetes native plants, you can't measure the effects on biodiversity.